त्वमेव सर्वं मम देवदेव।
सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। ॐ आप्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि वाक्प्राणश्चक्षुः श्रोत्रमथो बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्मोपनिषदं माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्याम् मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत्। अनिराकरणमस्तु अनिराकरणं मेस्तु तदात्मनि निरते य उपनिषत्सु धर्माः ते मयि सन्तु ते मयि सन्तु। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। Yesterday in the sixth mantra we saw तद्ध तद्वनं नाम तद्वनं upasitavyam. Upasana is taught to all of us. Upasana technically means upa asana, sitting closest to that altar of ideal. Upasana can also mean nikrishta vastuni utkrishta bhavaha. When you look at any vigraha, that which we have sanctified with prana pratishtha, either it is made of stone, different kinds of stones, black granite stone, white marble, sometimes pink sandstone, sometimes it is made up of some precious gems, sphatika or emerald, different kinds of gems. Metals, usually those huge ones are made up of panchaloha, or sometimes it is made up of wood. In Jagannath Puri, so Krishna, Balarama and Subhadra, They are made up of daruka. Daruka means wood. Sometimes very subtly, like in Chidambaram, which is supposed to be Bhagavan Shiva in the form of space, meaning there is no murti. In the Prabhavali of it, that which is established, they'll remove the curtain and all that you see is nothing. You cannot say nothing, there is space. But we have this idea that there should be some kind of a vigraha. The space is worshipped. If you look at some other, in Kerala, I think there is one which is called Pranava Mandiram, which has been established by Narayana Guru. Sri Narayana Guru established that. And when you go there, surprise of surprise, there is a small Om. Underneath, there is a big mirror. And his idea was, who is God? It is you, and everything else is reflecting and the reflection of you. You, the Chaitanya Tattva. All these are different pratima. The pratimas are made up of different kinds of material. When you look at the stone, it doesn't evoke sanctity. But when that stone is carved, now the stone, it doesn't remain a stone anymore. It becomes worship worthy. So Nikrishta Vastuni, just a stone, Utkrishta Bhavaha, something higher, sublime, subtle, is evoked, and that invocation brings us closer to that higher. That is Upasana. Now here, Tadvana Nama Upasanam Upasitavyam. And what does this Tadvana Upasana mean? That the intensity with which one meditates upon what? Meditates upon the very substratum, which is the very silence within. And in that silence, you perceive, you appreciate all the different movements that are happening, and that intense, dense, just like the forest is dense, that intense, dense, conscious principle, Chit Ghana, the dense, there's nothing other than it. In that, there seems to be waves of it. That which is appearing as wave, sustained as wave of thought, merges back. Where does it merge? So whenever there is a thought, don't get irritated by it. Don't try to subdue it. Don't try to fight it. And because we fight, waking up almost feels like waking up to a wrestling bout. Whole day wrestling with our own thoughts, our own feelings, our own emotions. Don't try to resist it, but instead look at that possibility that all of these movement has to arise from somewhere. That from where it is arising is me, the awareness. All the attributes of this awareness conscious principle is borrowed by, first of all, it reflects in the intellect, and the intellect borrows it. From the intellect, the mind is borrowing it. From the mind, the organs of perception, and later the organs of action. This is how the sequence is being borrowed. So, whatever the mind behaves as though it is its attribute, Sometimes it is funny. This was in way back in Vijayawada. I was still very young as a brahmachari, and in the ashram somebody came, and as soon as they saw me, a young brahmachari, they were told there is a residential Swami there. Whoever told them, they should have said there is a residential brahmachari. They said residential Swami. So as soon as I opened the door, very boastfully that person said, "Apne Swami ko bulao." And I was like, "Aapka parichay?" They said, "Tell him this name and tell him that he will know. Tell that Swami this name and he will know. परिचय है उनसे हमारा." I was like smiling. भाई आप जिससे मिलने आए हो, fortunately or unfortunately, it is me. He's claiming that he has to come in because he already knows that Swami, and the Swami will recognize, and that Swami happened to be me. The mind behaves as though all the attributes that it is displaying is its own. And now it comes in face to face with its own nature and says, "I am not being able to be aware of you. I don't know if you exist." Don't get frustrated with that mind and its audacity. Just observe. Don't indulge in it. It is like pulling the plug. Because it is connected, it is behaving. Don't indulge with it. Pull the plug and see that that thought merges back into that chit ghana, that intense, dense forest of conscious principle. That which is unfragmented, akhanda mandalakaram. We started with that, right? Akhanda mandalakaram. Though there is no time and space in it, with respect to the mind that it functions in time and space, to illumine that aspect, it is said, wherever you go, this Akhanda Tattva is already pervading. So, whenever there is a thought that moves, that should become our sadhana, that should become our upasana. That if the thought is moving, it has to be supported by me, the conscious principle, me, the awareness. I am the one that has to be aware of that and not the other way around. And when it merges, where does it merge into? Into this silence, which is still. There is no movement in it. So if there is a movement, if there is a chalana, if there is, people talk of experiences. And what is that experience? I had, sparkling lights. Is that a movement? I had some sounds, divine sounds that I heard. Is it a movement? The various kinds of colors people talk of. Is this a movement? Because there is no fragmentation in that Chidghana. They may be sublime, those experiences, but they still are not that awareness. Into that awareness, into that stillness, into that silence, all of these movements, however gross, however subtle, have to merge. And that unto which that it merges is my true nature. Iti upasitavyam. Do the upasana taking the alambana support of the movement and where it merges into. And this is being said after the entire Upanishad of its subtlety pointing at the highest. A upasana is given. Just so that it can cover even those students that are listening who are not qualified or ready enough to understand that subtlety which has been pointed up until now. Now there might have been few students, they're hesitant to ask, and they're like, Guru Maharaj, ये भी हमें बहुत मुश्किल लगता है. This is also very very difficult. What you said before this was of course difficult. Even this upasana seems to be very difficult. To such students, when they very hesitatingly ask, Upanishadam bo bruhi 178. Upanishadam bho bruhi ityuktata ityuktate उपनिषद ब्राह्मी वावते उपनिषदं ब्रूमेति. So the student is asking almost to the end of the conversation, the end of the dialogue. What is the student asking? Upanishadam bho bruhi. Please tell me Upanishad which I can understand. The Guru Maharaj is very compassionate. If I were there, I would have said, अब तक क्या बोल रहा था? जब फिर से सुन लो. This Guru Maharaj is very compassionate. So he says, Upanishadam bho bruhi, when you are asking, Ityukta, asked by the student, to them, Upanishadam ब्राह्मी वावते. अब तक जो बोला है वो उपनिषद ही है. Whatever has been discussed with you so far, that is called Upanishad. FYI, just for your information, kind information. A student must be like, I, I know you were talking about Upanishad. हमारे लायक Upanishad. Something which can be to our level, because whatever you said, it just went all above. पल्ले ही नहीं पड़ा. So you were writing busily all the notes. Went back, looked at the notes. Nothing seems to be clear. Or everything inside is clear. Nothing seems to have been registered. So the teacher says, ठीक है. Upanishadam abrumeti. I will tell the Upanishad in a way that you can understand. So he says in the 8th mantra, for many of us, this should be our starting point. See, there are certain places where you have to be very, very honest. On the dining table, you cannot be hesitant. If you are hungry, you should ask, थोड़ा और खिला दीजिए. On the doctor's table, you have to be honest. And sitting across from Guru Maharaj is the highest honesty that is expected. We cannot go on the assumptions of grandeur that how can I, in front of everybody, say that I didn't understand. It is not about others. It is about me, that wisdom, and my clarity. Have I reached there? Without that brutal honesty, we may attempt at all the other subtler sadhanas, but if we are not unanchored, we will be stuck where we are. Yathasthanam pratisthapayami. After all the 16 steps of puja is done, in the initial, when we do the temporary pratishtha of daily puja, we bring that Bhagwan from our heart and invoke it in that particular Murti Vigraha. And after the puja is done, we invite him back into our heart. Right? So, how do you say? Puna pratishtha. Like, I am inviting that Lord back. Kshemaya punaragamanaya cha. Yathasthanam pratisthapayami. I am placing you back into the original place. If we are not honest, we will be exactly at the place where we started, never had a dent of change or improvement as a sadhaka. We have to be very, very honest with ourselves. Where exactly am I? And from there, I have to map my route all the way to the highest that is being pointed, suggested. It cannot be a comparative game. This is not Vyavahara, this is not Samsara, where we compare with others. How much effort did I put? How much effort did they put? What is the result did they get? I also should get the same result. If they get this quantum of, I should also get this quantum of. This field is not like that. Therefore, even in the Grihastha those who are practicing it, they say the Dharma, Artha, Kama is a joint account between the husband and wife. Moksha, that is individual account. It is not that the husband puts the effort, wife gets the result, or the wife puts the effort and the husband gets a share of it. This is not something that can be shared. It has to be subjective, intimate, intense experience of the individual, which starts with brutal honesty with yourself. So, to that student, he says, Tasyai tapodamaha कर्मेति प्रतिष्ठा वेदाः सर्वाङ्गानि सत्यम् आयतनम्. For such individual who is asking, or the likes of those who in this last are asking, भाई हमारे लायक उपनिषद बोलो ना. Usually those who come to the realm of Upanishad should be a very, very qualified seeker. What is the qualification? First, Pariksha Lokan कर्मचितान् नास्ति अकृतः कृतेन. Experiment with the world intensely to find that which you are seeking. Can the world provide it? World of experiences. And one has to be a subtle observer. Have I found it? Otherwise, what happens? Sometimes when there is meditation class happening, Gurudev used to conduct meditation classes. And after the meditation class, we would have a cup of tea in the Annakshetra. And while having that cup of tea, there is now discussions happening. How was the meditation class and what was the experience? And somebody said, no, I had this experience. It was so light. I was like, whatever is the experience. And the fellow said, you did experience it? And now you are put at spot. If you are being sincere. And I said, no, you lack Shraddha. That's a peer pressure. And in that group, at least if there are a couple of them, they say, yes, 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 I also, just to comply. This is not that kind of a field wherein you are trying to compare your notes. You will start where you are. Do you have a clarity where you are? Most of us are still in the field of karma. Intensely occupied. Our preoccupation is the field of karma. So intense that we cannot even sleep. Why? The responsibilities of the waking world keeps us awake even on the bed. Blessed are those who can fall on the bed and snore away to glory. As though Bhagavan had the last laugh where the couple, one of them sleeps as soon as they fall on the bed. The other one is like tossing up and down. And the one who sleeps first has also the amazing capacity. What is that capacity? Sound sleep. Sleep for themselves and sound for everybody around them. Snoring. And this fellow is already, the other is already finding it difficult to sleep. The snoring doesn't make it any easier. We stay awake, troubled with our waking world, not able to even withdraw from it. That is how we are completely merged in the field of karma. What should that person do? Create a certain amount of discipline. That is called tapas. Look at what field do I have too much of indulgence in. Things like, do I unnecessarily keep voicing my opinions even if I am not asked? Vak is not under control. Eating is not under control. Indulgences are not in control. Sleep is not under control. So, what is the simple tapas that can be that we can begin with? Keep it tight discipline where sleep at the whatever appropriate time that you choose, that you get at least 6 to 8 hours of sleep. And organize it in such a way that you have enough opportunity to wake up early in the morning. So if you sleep by 10:30, you should be up by 5:30. Rain or shine, that should become a habit. And sometimes technology is a blessing. Many times that technology is a curse. I find it so intrusive that people are sending group messages at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. अगर तुमको नींद नहीं आती तो बाकियों को क्यों डिस्टर्ब कर रहे हो? And not that by choice I have been added into that group. I have been forced into that group. And not any useful. वो ऐसे उठपटांग सी मैसेजेस. What time? 11 के बाद. That is the time when they are trying to sleep, and in their sleep they are not able to get it. तो पकड़ो फोन, भेजो सबको. Put everything aside, 10:30 sleep, wake up by 5. A discipline of sleep. Discipline of food. Eat right food, that which is sumptuous food. Eat that which is sattvic food. Eat that which is fresh food. Preferably, you cook and eat, not ordered in. Because anything, even at the middle of night, you can order. 1 बजे, 2 बजे. And that is the time where there is cravings come out of the cave. Have some discipline in food eating. Morning, afternoon, evening, and nothing in between. When I say nothing in between, pani piyo. Maybe 1 or 2 cups of coffee or tea. Maybe. Beyond which, even if there is sumptuous food available, I'm done, no more. That should be the discipline. As soon as you wake up, clean yourself up and do some rigorous exercise. Age appropriate. Swamiji, you said rigorous exercise. I went and did शीर्षासन. मैं बैठा नहीं जाता, काहे शीर्षासन कर रहे हो? शीर्षासन में स्टैंडिंग अप ऑन दी हेड. सीधे खड़े नहीं हो सकते, लड़खड़ाते हुए चल रहे हो, काहे शीर्षासन कर रहे हो? Rigorous meaning appropriate, age appropriate. Where then there is some cardiovascular movement, brisk walk, some exercise. That has a discipline. Come what may, you will not drop it. Maybe if you are a chatterbox who constantly speaks and constantly needs people to keep speaking, don't take the vrata of Monday I will be Mauna Vrata. उससे ज्यादा बेवकूफी और कुछ नहीं होगी. Because you become a pain for everybody around. Mm, 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 में पूरी जिंदगी निकल जाएगी. Have the tapas wherein up until I finish my breakfast, I'll be monovrata daily. So that it is not a hindrance to you or hindrance to anybody else. I'll not pick up the phone up until this time. Some kind of a discipline that is required. I mean, again, if you are a doctor, if you are on a call, don't have monovrata as the tapas. Because there are people that depend, their lives depend on you. You cannot afford to do that kind of tapas. So, with the kind of field of work, what is the tapas? Identify it, have tapas. Now, once you have a good dedicated amount of tapas with regards to a very gross ahara, vihara, vichara, then increase the tapas to reading one Sat Grantha, maybe a biography or autobiography of a Mahatma. Very inspiring those books are. In my initial, as I became a brahmachari, I don't know, that's how the entire cosmos worked to help. I must have gotten at least about 150, 160 biographies and autobiographies of Mahatmas. Daily read a biography or an autobiography of a Mahatma. सदग्रंथ और सीधा ही ब्रह्म सूत्र पे मत चढ़ो. Swamiji, I have started sadhana. I am reading Mandukya Upanishad with Karika and Ashtavakra Gita. Be realistic. Start with Mahatma's biography, autobiography. Then slowly engage yourself in some kind of connection early in the morning, wherein before I connect with any other relationship in my life, I connect with Bhagavan, and that is the first connection. That my identity is, see, whenever Hanumanji introduced himself, he could have said Pavana Sutta, Anjani Nandana, Hanuman, Vayu Sutta. All of these are his names. But what would he introduce himself as? Ramaduta. That is the connection. First connect with Bhagavan. And when you are trying to connect with Bhagavan, don't go with the elaborateness. Purvanga Puja, then the Shodashopachara Puja, then the Uttaranga Puja. Purvanga Puja, Mandapa Radhana, Ganta Radhana. Keep it simple. Keep it simple wherein 16 steps 10 मिनट में हो जाने चाहिए. 10 से भी कम. Whoever is your Ishta Devata, first have a Ishta Devata. Whoever comes easily to your mind when you think of God. And then connect with that Bhagavan. Do your Shodashopchara Puja. Then, after you have become regular with it, introduce the 108 names as a part of your Shodashopchara Puja. Then, after a few months of that practice, introduce some japa. And once you introduce, rain or shine, in sickness or health, that japa at that particular time must be done. And don't do 11 times, 21 times, pata nahi kisne bataya, 108 times. And people have this habit out of fear. Monday one japa, Tuesday one japa, Wednesday one japa, one Ishta Devata, and stick to that one Ishta Devata. Don't keep jumping like a monkey over several branches, you will achieve nothing. Then I wouldn't call the next step as meditation. Sit quietly. Conscious mind sitting quietly is a good self repair tool. Various layers of unnecessary disturbances that happen within, intense disturbances that happen. Try regulating it, not by attacking it, but by finding silence. Puja hua, japa hua, sit for 2 to 5 minutes. Zyada nahi. 2 to 5 minutes, sit quietly. Clear? Then, after again few months of this regular practice being established, you know, now you have gotten habituated to it. Then, in the evening, because mornings, everybody in the house has their own timings. Their waking up time, their preparation time, their getting ready, their getting out. All of it is in different timings. The family doesn't have the time to sit together. In the evening, when you already know that everybody comes usually, generally at this particular time, everybody freshens up, takes shower, sit down in front of Bhagwan. Don't make that also elaborate. Simple. Light a lamp, light an incense stick, 4 or 5 stotras or shlokas, one arati, sit quietly. Let everybody else leave. Learn one. Whoever is your Ishta Devata, accordingly, learn one Sahasranama. Chant that Sahasranama. Make it a habit that unless that evening arati is done, you would not take the dinner. Tapas. Unless the morning puja is done, unless the morning japa is done, no breakfast. Now people take this seriously and make their life completely upside down. No energy. Why? What happened? My morning japa is not done. Therefore, now I have not eaten breakfast. Remember, that rule was given so that the breakfast time doesn't change, so that you can now enforce yourself to do this before that breakfast. That was the purpose. It is not that you extend this japa time any which time and then have your food. Am I getting across? Tapas. Now, once this is settled as a regular pattern of life, then find a beautiful environment where you can have a good Shravana through a satsanga. Whatever Shravana that I do, just before sleeping, take a paper and pen. Write down 5 to 8 points that which have appealed to my understanding very beautifully. Write them down. As you think over them while sleeping, some contemplation is encouraged. As again I said, Don't start your satsanga and shravana with intense, complicated logic texts. My satsanga says Brahma Vichara, therefore Brahma Sutra I will start. Or Mandukya Upanishad I start. It was a small Upanishad. As the Upanishad gets smaller and smaller, they are that intense. Don't go by the size of it. They become that much more potent. Start with Prakarana Grantha. Gradually complete about 10 to 12 Prakarana Granthas wherein you have been introduced to the Vedantic vocabulary and its meaning, its logical understanding. Then slowly graduate to understand the higher Prakarana Granthas. Higher Prakarana Granthas like Vivek Chudamani, Upadesha Sahasri. Then get into Bhagavad Gita. How many shlokas are there in Bhagavad Gita? 700 or 701. If you add that extra shloka in 13th chapter. Daily 2 shlokas, Gurudev's Holy Gita, that book. Read 2 shlokas with the word meaning, with uh, the meaning given, and then the commentary. 2 shlokas worth. How many ever pages? 2 shlokas worth. Before the year turns around, you have already completed studying Bhagavad Gita. The first time you study, don't try to sit down and make a thesis out of it. कि मैं पढ़ रहा हूं तो अभी इसमें नोट्स लिखूंगा. Give it a generic study. It is not even to understand that it is the concept of it. Just let that Gita go through you once. What will happen with that? A very generic sense of the labyrinth of that Bhagavad Gita settles in. Second round around, read those 2 shlokas, meaning, write 4 to 5 pointers from each shloka. A small notebook. Each shloka, mention the chapter, shloka number, 4 points of your understanding. It's a must. Why? The next round around, the third round around, when you start reading, and then make your 4-5 pointers and compare your 4-5 pointers with the earlier one, it will be such gratifying to see the depth that has increased. These scriptures are not like reading a novel. पढ़ लिया मैंने एक बार ना. These are that which have to be repeated again and again and again. One kid asked me, Swamiji, how many times have you studied Bhagavad Gita or spoken on Bhagavad Gita? कुछ number था बताया. He looked at me and said, that many times? Don't you get bored? In the classroom, they're teaching us the text. Come back, read it once, maybe once before the exam. That's it. When I go to the next class, I don't want to touch that book again. Why do you keep reading it again and again and again? As you intensely read it again and again and again, you will see the clarity of depth as you proceed. 3-4 times that you have read Bhagavad Gita, there is some depth of grasp. Then get into the Upanishads. This is as tapas. Tapaha, damaha, I have already explained. How does one include discipline of control on oneself? The 5 organs of perception, 5 organs of action. Our Gnaneshwar Maharaj and Gnaneshwari says something very beautiful. He says, every seeker should start with your tongue. Why? It is a two-in-one. It is an organ of perception, taste. It is an organ of action, speech. Control your tongue. How much you eat, what you eat, at what intervals do you eat. Control it. How much you speak, when you speak, more precisely when not to speak, and then while you are speaking, when to withdraw. You said what you have to say, withdraw from speaking. Usually, what happens after satsanga, especially the evening ones, when I travel to other places, people invite for bhiksha. When people invite for bhiksha, after satsang is done, the whole family was there. Now, after going to their house, they said, Swami ji, आप कुछ अच्छा बोलिए ना. अब तक क्या मैं बकवास बोल रहा था? In a funny way, I started saying, I speak अच्छा only when there is a mic. अब mic नहीं है, मैं कुछ नहीं बोलता. When not to speak, when it is not necessary. See, if it is not my role, it is not my responsibility, I don't need to butt my head in and say, if I were you, you are not. Shut up. Your opinion is not required. Even if it is your own family. बच्चे हैं, शादी हो गई, उनका जीवन है, they will handle. If they come to you, then you say whatever has to be said. If not, observe. Bhagavan, give them buddhi and you go connect with Bhagavan. Not required. If somebody comes to you, ask specifically, what is your opinion? Just give an opinion. Don't make a big hangama of it. I will not tell you. I will only tell and you don't follow it. That is not for you to decide. They have come, ask you, give your opinion and zip it up. तो ये होते बड़े 30 मार खाना हो कि now you will keep a note and how much have you followed? Yeah, are you following your own words? Some kind of dhamma, some kind of self-control, self-restraint. Then the field of karma. I cannot insist enough. The pratishtha in karma, the nishtha in karma, with the karma yoga attitude has to be clearly massaged into our understanding. The field of karma is not a burden. It is a beautiful sadhana. When a thorn pricks into your foot, you remove that thorn with another prickly thorn-like material to pull it out. From the field of karma, to get out purified, karma alone is the method. Leaving all the responsibilities, I do something specialized in the name of sadhana is not going to help. It is not what you are doing as your responsibility that is important. It is with what attitude you are doing that is important. And I'll tell it very bluntly. Many of us fail only here. Because we have assumed that sadhana means there is something specialized that to be done, therefore it is sadhana. There is nothing special. It is the same field, same people, same karma. Change the attitude behind that karma. Not running away from the responsibilities. As the responsibilities unfold, you should be like, bring it on. हम तैयार बैठे हैं. Your responsibility. Not again butting your head into others' responsibility. At every intersection of life, you know what is your role. That should be very clear. If the role is not clear, responsibility will not be clear. Very crystal clear understanding should be, what is my role? At every intersection, that role changes. Am I a mother? Am I a daughter? Am I a wife? Am I a administrator? Am I a friend? The roles keep changing. As the speed of the roles keep changing, I cannot be with one size fits it all. My ऐसा ही You have to accommodate yourself to each role. In some roles, you are the lead. In some roles, you are the follower. Some roles very clearly state there is no role. But we have the itch called FOMO. FOMO, fear of missing out. क्या हो रहा है? तुमको बुलाया? नहीं ना? बैठो वहां. नहीं, मुझे पता होना चाहिए. इंडिया नीड्स टू नो. चुप. बैठ वहां. इट्स नॉट योर रोल. सर नीचे, सीधा चलो बाहर. Am I getting across? Now, once the role is understood, responsibilities accordingly have to be understood. And once the responsibility understood, what are the different skill sets I have to cater to it? And while catering to it, now comes the attitude. First and foremost, it is to be done because it is my responsibility. Second, it is to be done with the utmost conscious effort of being selfless. Not to gather credit, not to gather limelight, not to gather wah-wahi from others. None of that. It is to be done, it is to be done and be done. अभी कीड़ा क्या है कि with the social media, you want to be the next viral thing. अपने आप को कोरोना समझ रखे हो, that you want to be the next viral thing. Because that itch of location to be in the limelight. No, that's not the purpose. The field of karma to be done selflessly, and while you're doing it selflessly, dedicated to your Ishta Devata completely. I am doing this for my Bhagavan, therefore it has to be pristine, therefore it has to be pure, therefore it has to be diligent. Why? I am offering it as an offering to my Bhagavan. Can I offer anything that which is tuchha? Not worthy of being offered to Bhagavan. And most importantly, it is not one act per day or one act per blue moon that you do it this and then you start claiming I'm a karma yogi. Every single act of life. So kid asked me, Swamiji, brushing teeth and taking shower? Of course that also. You're cleaning yourself up so that you are worthy enough to present yourself at the altar of Bhagavan. Just like the beloved does everything to please her lover, similarly, the sadhaka should do everything so that it pleases that Bhagavan. The beloved will stand in front of the wardrobe. आज क्या पहनूं? What should I wear? With what combination should I wear? The earlier combination he has already seen. Why? What will please my loved one? Isn't it? Similarly, the intensity should be that every act that I do is for my Ishta Devata, my beloved Bhagavan. Chitta Shodhakam, Mukti Sadhakam. And last point, do not disappoint yourself by setting up an appointment with your field of karma, anticipating ananda to be born out of it. Karma is for cleaning up my vasanas, to purify my antakarana, chitta shuddhi. That is the only purpose of it. But we shamelessly set up appointment with every karma to anticipate ananda. And then blame the world that you are not giving ananda, it cannot give you ananda. Whose frustration? I become frustrated with my wrong anticipations. The world of things, beings, environments cannot, will not ever give ananda. Very important point. Then why do I perform karma? Only for chitta shuddhi. Ananda is an internalized sadhana to turn within and abide within. Nothing to do with karma. If these pointers that I have given are firmly abided in nishtha, pratishtha, there comes a time wherein you sit and quietude pervades. Your mind is not trying to run here and there. It is okay for the mind to sit quiet. That mind is now prepared, where chitta shuddhi and chitta ekagrata has been gained. That mind, as soon as Shravana happens, intuitively the clarity settles in. Now that this YouTube and Reels, everybody wants to become a speaker. कैमरा लगा दिया, बात करना शुरू कर दिया. But this is not for writing all the pointers so that you can impress others with your Vedantic wisdom. That is not the purpose. It is to turn ourselves within completely so that I can abide within. Tapo damaha karmeti pratishtha. Start from there. And then, just like to Indra, Upanishad, no, sorry, Shruti, in the form of Uma Haimavati, appeared and ushered him step by step to that ultimate. That Shruti Mata will appear in front of you as your guru. Guaranteed. No flower goes out there and advertises for itself. ABs, tomorrow I am going to open up. Come for the beautiful nectarine. कोई जरूरत नहीं है. You unfold from within. It is the job of that Ishvara and Shruti Mata to provide one for you. It will happen. Start from here. Let us be honest in understanding where exactly I am, irrespective of the age, and start from where I am to reach to where I should. With this, he says, Vedaha Sarvangani Satyam Ayatanam. For all these processes, yes, this is also another point. Just because there is a new speaker in the market and a new technique being introduced, don't fall for every Tom, Dick, and Harry. Is it something that which has been clearly given as a process in the Veda, Vedanga, and the Shruti? Wherever there is confusion, one should refer Tasmat Shastram Pramanante Karya Karya Vyavasthito. So Veda is Satyam Ayatanam, is the abode of this truth and the path to that truth. Whatever sadhana is being done, is it being guided by that Shruti Mata? Align yourself and you will find intuitively progressing step by step. The key here is step by step. Don't try to jump suddenly. नहीं नहीं ये सब नहीं, मुझे कुछ और करना है, स्पेशल करना। वो कीड़ा बहुत जोर का लगा रहता है, that keeps eating away. Meaning sadhana means I have to do something. Somebody came and said, for the rest of your life, keep a sadhana that you will walk on one foot. कर लो बात, करना है कुछ स्पेशल. Just like when people have their children, they want to name their child a unique name that nobody has ever had. So recently somebody had a daughter and said, the same kida, something unique. I said, I'll give you Lalita Sahasranama. It comes in Lalita Sahasranama. Bhandasura Vadot Yukta. Unique. Nobody ever has had this name. Shortly you can call her Bhanda. Uniqueness का कीड़ा क्या है भाई? A certain part of life when I used to go regularly to the Char Dham and further to the mountains, one of the persons who had come with me was also a mountaineer. He said, Swamiji, you should at least for 5 days get trained in mountaineering. Garhwal mein. So I went there. As you enter into that institute, the first thing that is said, at least while walking on snow, follow the footsteps of your leader. बाकी जगह हमें यूनिक चाहिए ना. In sadhana, there have been scores of Mahatmas that have left their trail. Walk meticulously step by step and you will reach there. Let us conclude. May that Bhagavan provide that honesty and sincerity to each one of us to be honest to ourselves and our sadhana. Om सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्. असतो मा सद्गमय, तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय, मृत्योर्मा अमृतङ्गमय. ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते, पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते. ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. हरिः ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः. हरिः ॐ.